Hello, everyone. My name is Tay Whiteside. I've been a professional welder for 15 years, and I own and operate my own custom fabrication company and run a YouTube channel. And today, my producer, Walker, has put together all sorts of goodies from Reddit, like fabrication, welding related clips, tips, how-tos, how probably shouldn'ts from Reddit. And I'm going to react to them and bring you guys along for the ride. What could possibly go wrong? Walker, what do you have to say for yourself?
I'm sorry. And there is a mix of some decently interesting stuff, I think. I may have cut that out.
You cut out all the decently interesting stuff.
We dug up clips from r/welding, from r/machinist,
Okay.
r/skookum.
Love Skookum.
Which, is that an AVE thing?
Yeah. By the way, sorry if my voice sounds crunchy. I've had a fairly lame sinus infection for like 3 days, but we're going to get through it.
Yeah, and maybe another thing to touch on is that you have a lot of experience outside of welding as well.
Yeah, well, Walker has assured me that there's a lot of diversity here, but I do much more than just welding. You know, I come from the custom furniture industry. I've built custom cars. So everything from lighting to body work to roll cage, fabrication, plasma cutting, oxy torch cutting, anything even remotely adjacent to custom fabrication, I've touched or seen or been around in some form over the past 15 years. So, I know a little about a lot of things and a lot about a few things. So I'm excited to see what the internet has to offer, because normally the wormholes I find myself in on any sort of internet app are far less educational than probably what we're about to watch. Welder reacts to wacky shit.mp4. All right, first up, we got safety issue. Beware of Trude Safe, selling this fake respirator filters. But what's supposed to be inside?
I have no idea. That's what I was going to ask
you. It looks like there's stuff inside. Like there's layers of something in there.
Just cardboard?
You can come over here and look. It looks like just layers of like fiber. I don't know what's supposed to be in there. It doesn't look totally. I'm not like an OSHA expert. Yeah, I don't know really what to say about that other than buy the respirator cartridge refills from the same company that makes your mask.
That's a very good point.
So I get all mine from 3M, from Amazon, but they're like 3M brand. All right, small gap. Yeah, man, this is wild. This is like a giant inside corner joint filled with probably 100 passes.
So my question would be, what's the advantage of doing that versus just like cutting out a piece of metal to slot in there?
I don't know exactly how this fit up came to exist. It's one big flange almost 70 degrees away from the bottom plate. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to see the bigger weldment. You know, this is obviously very thick metal. So whoever made these pieces that are coming together, there's a lot of metal and a lot of mass there. So cutting something down and trimming it, maybe the fit up just couldn't be done. Technically, and again, I'm not a welding inspector per se, but technically there's nothing wrong with this. I've seen stuff like this done a lot. You see multi-pass welds happen all the time. This is obviously really extreme, and I'd be curious to see what an actual welding inspector would have to say about this. But as long as you're cleaning your welds in between every pass, like with a wire brush, and chipping off all your slag, if you cut that like section wise, it should be solid.
Really?
Yeah, there shouldn't be any porosity. If you're doing it right, there should be no porosity, and it should essentially be a solid metal prism.
Is that a stick weld or?
It looks like it was probably stick welded. Could be MIG welded.
How long do you think something like that would take?
That took days. Yeah, that was days of one guy welding, or girl. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's like an 8-pound sledgehammer for scale there. So it's a lot. Pretty wild though. And I love the caption, small gap.
Skookum is a lot of that.
I love Skookum. Well, Skookum also in the world of AVE is kind of like an inside joke. Like, it's not stupid if it works, kind of thing.
Then a lot of it makes sense now.
Yeah. The places we go to earn a paycheck.
Where is this?
Yeah, this is some end of the world type stuff.
So this is what I'm picturing when Steve says he's like crammed down on these ships. Mm-hmm. Do you think this is a ship?
This looks like it's probably a boiler. In what I would guess like a steam power plant. Boilers usually have big bulkheads with just big cylinders filled with a bunch of small cylinders, so that the whole point of this is to turn water into steam. So you have a lot of surface area, a lot of pipes where water gets superheated and the steam gets captured and then shot into the turbine. Yeah, so if you're a journeyman welder is really just someone who is freelance, who's mobile. A journeyman will go in wherever welding needs to be done, oil field, oil pipe, oil rigs, power plants, all the heavy, big industrial stuff. Yeah, and for someone like me, 6'7", this is a nightmare.
You have to be very non-claustrophobic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and like Steve, who's been on the channel before, he's shorter, and when he worked in the shipyards, this is exactly what he would be doing, is just being crammed down. He did a lot of welding in like submarines, and you know how tight submarines are already, but like the parts of submarines where people weren't meant to go, that's where Steve would be welding.
There isn't space for humans.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, this is why welders get paid $80 to $100 an hour right here. This person's making a damn good living, but they are working for it.
Yeah. Well, and some of the videos coming up, we'll have to discuss the rates that welders.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you'll hear my voice all crispy in your ears. Testing.
Yeah, Walker's here. There we go.
Hey, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Ooh-wee.
All right. Oh, yeah. This is the plague of a welder is when you travel and look at stuff, you just notice the world through the eyes of a welder. Mm-hmm. This guy says, on holiday in Spain, saw this weld on a bridge going over the swimming pool. Yikes.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not the worst location that a weld like that could be in, but, I'm imagining you're going across something like a bridge.
Yeah, this is just really bad.
So the question becomes, is a weld like that substantially weaker?
Well, this one I can see air through.
Ooh.
So whether or not it was like that to begin with, it has all but completely failed now. So, yes.
It also looks like they put so much heat into it that
this was either a really bad fit up that they tried to fill a gap with, or they just kept melting holes in it. I would guess they had it turned up way too high. It looks like they were probably using a MIG welder. This looks like stainless, which you can MIG stainless with stainless filler wire. Mm-hmm. And this isn't rusted, so this looks like maybe they used a MIG with stainless filler, but they just had it cranked up to the moon. This looks like it was probably really thin wall tubing. And you can see, the bigger tube looks deformed.
Yeah.
So, either it was a bad fit up to begin with, or they just burnt holes through it and then just spent the rest of the time like trying to fill the holes. In any case, like, at least wire brush it when you're done.
Yeah, I know. I was about to say, it doesn't even look like it grounded down at all.
No.
And there's like spatter everywhere.
Yeah, the spatter's what makes me think it's MIG welding.
Right.
Whereas TIG, you wouldn't have all that spatter unless you've really done something wrong.
Oh, that's an interesting point.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even think about that.
Yeah, but this is the stuff that makes me cringe all the time. Like, I can't look at like signposts or anything without going, who the hell?
Yeah.
Like, the city paid for someone to do this.
Somebody made money off of this.
I know. Yeah.
That's a me level weld.
You could do better than this.
Oh, well,
I could teach you within an hour to do better than this with a TIG welder.
How does this happen?
I don't know. I really don't. I mean, some civil engineering company was contracted. Like, could be a million things. It could be this person was an intern with this bigger company, or, an employee was fed up with their boss and said, screw it. Or somebody quit and someone who didn't know how to weld had to step up and do their best. You never know.
Yeah.
what happened. But there are people that are like, I'm a welder, hire me for welding services, and they're not a welder.
Yep, they just bought that $200 Vevor welder, and now they're like, I'm a welder.
Sucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
This is all the time. It's how I know I will stay in business. Stuff like this.
Yeah, it's kind of reassuring, actually.
Yeah, for sure. Holiday in Spain, that'll ruin a holiday.
Yep.
Looking at the awful overhead weld I just did.
Now, are overhead welds notoriously difficult?
He's all covered in shit.
Oh, I didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah, that's part of it for sure.
Oh, my gosh.
Overhead welding is really hard. Partly because the weld pool wants to drop, like the gravity pulls the weld pool down, which is why, welding uphill and downhill is completely different. An uphill weld is much stronger, but sometimes it's way harder to do an uphill weld. I mean, I've built custom cars a lot, not like, the pimp my ride stuff, but like, I've done a lot of exhaust welding and frame welding and roll cage welding, and you weld above your head a lot. And there are a lot of problems with welding above your head. Namely, it's because you're welding above your head. To quote Glorious Bastards, the problem with fighting in a basement is that you're fighting in a basement. Yeah, man, like you just got to suit up to the nines. I'll put my welding jacket on and Velcro the neck strap and put my welding hat on and my safety glasses with side shields on and my mask. You're just going to get covered in molten metal. It's the quickest way to ruin that clear shield on the outside of your welding helmet. But you got to do it sometimes. And this is oftentimes how you look after an overhead weld, because there's just stuff falling on your face like dirt.
What a nightmare.
And if you're welding on an exhauster under a car, an old car, everything you hit knocks rust and dirt loose that ends up in your nose and in your ears and in your eye holes. Yeah, and then in that terrible position, it's much harder to do a good weld. So most overhead welds are awful.
Yeah, with the caption, "It will hold."
It'll hold. I mean, a strong weld's a good weld, but yeah, it's overhead stuff. Like if I'm doing a roll cage, on TIG welding a roll cage, TIG in a lot of cases is easier to control. Not slag, but like dripping molten metal, where MIG loves to just dump globs of metal all over you. Don't, the short answer is don't weld overhead if you don't have to.
Yeah.
Like flip the piece over. But if it's a car or a steel structure or something, you're going to weld over your head and you're going to have a bad time.
Yep.
But you just got to do it. That's great.
Oh, yeah. Look at this. Look at that welder.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen a welder that big.
Yeah, man. The old welders are huge. That looks like it could be, I feel like it says Hobart, but it being blue makes me think it's an old Miller. Old welders used to be huge. Like, this is a transformer machine, which the transformer is how you got that all that arc power. Whereas now a lot of machines are made with inverter technology, so they can be a lot smaller. So this is it looks like probably a late 60s welding power source, probably for just stick welding. It might also be a generator. This looks like a mobile welding rig, so it probably has a gas or diesel engine on one side with a generator attached to the engine, and then this is the interface where you would set all the settings. Big bastards.
Yeah. Well, so
Jake has one that's pretty big.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not
big.
much smaller than that.
No, but guessing on the age of that machine, would you say it's probably TIG stick?
It's probably just a DC welding power supply. So with DC, you could do stick or TIG. You wouldn't have high frequency start. You wouldn't be able to do AC. This is just a DC welding power supply, more than likely.
Gotcha.
I can't really see the control panel, but I would guess, just based on the age, it's probably DC. But the crazy thing is, it probably still works great.
Yeah.
There's also this whole like community behind restoring the old Lincolns.
Oh.
The Lincoln gas-driven like mobile welding, like all those pipeliner dudes with the big ass dually diesel truck flatbed situations, and there's like names for them. There's like the long hood, the short hood, the pig nose, whatever. There's a whole like community about these like 1950s Lincoln gas welders.
That's pretty rad, though.
Yeah, and the people restore them and they use them to this day to make a living. So, yeah, I've never seen that exact model before, but I'd almost guarantee that's what it is. And he said it weighs 1,100 pounds, which, I believe every second of that.
Yeah, I hate to keep bringing up that little Vivor guy, but that thing's like 5 pounds.
That little Vivor thing can technically do most of what this thing does. Not for nearly as long or as hot.
Yeah.
But still, that's how far we've come.
Talk about a blast from the past.
Yeah, here you go. The
thing.
Lincoln Ideal Arc.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, look at that. The Lincoln Electric Ideal Arc 250.
Wow.
Some people call these tombstone welders.
Oh, I see.
This isn't the classic tombstone. The normal tombstone has like flat top edges instead of curved. But this is just a DC stick welder. That's all it does. Before there was multiple processes of welding, there was just called arc welding. So there wasn't called stick welding. Stick welding was the only way to weld.
Stick welding was welding.
So it was just called arc welding, which is why this is called the Ideal Arc 250.
Well, just talking about those restoring old Lincolns. I mean, look at this.
Yeah.
What era do you think this is from?
This one's probably from a similar era, 50s or 60s. 60s or 70s probably. There's that big wheel in the middle we're looking at. That's how you change the power.
Oh, that's cool.
You crank that and change it. Looks like someone's kept it going, though. There's like a modern plug, a plastic plug on the end of the cord. And
yeah, well, normally
I bet it works great.
Yeah, normally also vintage tech like this, if it still works.
Well, there's nothing inside here.
Oh, true, yeah.
It's like one transformer, and that's it. There's no moving parts inside a welder like this.
Fair point.
Except that switch.
Yeah.
We'll see if that works.
But it's like, I wouldn't expect it to be free.
Yeah. Likely what happened is that some old guy started whatever shop this is, and he retired, and some new generation took over, and they're, like me, embracing the new inverter technology and was just like, here, I don't want this thing.
There's not much.
But some old timer is going to I used to work with an Ideal Arc 250. I would love that machine. You don't know what you have, young whippersnapper.
You idiots.
Yeah. If it's free, I'd take it.
Yeah.
If nothing else, you just hang it in the ceiling,
Yeah, it is a cool kind of art piece.
Yeah, the tombstone welders.
Oh, this one's.
Oh, yeah.
This is.
So here we go. We got a truck on a hockey rink with a mobile welding rig in the back. And the post says, at a hockey game in Grand Prairie, a bench gate latch broke during a game. Only in Canada you're at a hockey game. And you're at a hockey game, would you hear the following announcement? Does anyone in the crowd have a welding truck? And in Grand Prairie, there was probably half a dozen in the parking lot. Hell yeah,
This
man.
is the moment we all live for.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
This is the welder equivalent of being on a flight and someone passes out and they're like, is there a doctor? They're like, I'm a doctor.
Yeah, exactly. I have a mobile welding
This guy's
truck.
got his whole situation. There's a Lincoln portable gas-powered welder on the back. I don't know what this big black box thing is, but
Yeah, that's huge.
they're fixing a bench gate latch. Oh, so the bench where the hockey players sit, the gate latch broke. It's dope, man.
Yeah.
Where you get this is, it's just secondary to the Zamboni. You
Yeah,
got the
exactly.
Zamboni to watch,
Yeah.
and then you got some welding. And this poor truck, this is like a 2012 Chevy Duramax. That's in Canada, dude. I guarantee you that frame is made of Swiss cheese. That truck has had a hard life.
Yeah, Grand Prairie, no less.
Yeah, in Canada.
God.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that. I just hope there were enough people in the crowd to appreciate what was happening.
Yeah, at least one person did because they took a photo.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, maybe consider another person taking a photo.
Mommy, what are they doing? Well, that's a welder.
Well, that's
They
a
might have
welder.
inspired kids to become a welder.
True. How cool would that be?
Look how the welder saved the day.
Yeah.
here, little
Just comes
Johnny.
does a donut on the ice.
Dude, I would.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I can't wait. It's further along, but I can't wait for you to see the car stuff.
Well, this is. Oh, here we go. All right, last one. All right, we got. Was this the mayor from The Simpsons?
Yeah.
The caption says, "Star safety squints." When you're a welder and you're cooking bacon and it spits at you. Pathetic. Well, this is in reference to the fact that we set ourselves on fire for a living.
Well, are your hands like numb to cooking oil now?
No, I feel pain just like everyone else. But, you know, when you get burned in the kitchen, you're expecting it less than getting burned in the metal shop. So, like, out there, if I ever get set on fire, I pretty much saw it coming.
Yeah, there's no surprise.
Not really.
Yeah. In the kitchen, it's a little surprising.
Yeah, but, you know, if you're ever cooking bacon in your shirt off like I am every Sunday, things happen.
Yeah. Well, and the other funny thing about the welding subreddit is they're super big into the respirator PPE. But there's like 1,000 memes about safety squints.
Yes, this is what safety squints are.
Okay. Yeah, okay. That makes sense to me now. Because, like, there just seems to be some sort of, like, oxymoron to that where...
Jake does it all the time in the shop, and it drives me nuts. I'm just like, dude, you need to wear safety glasses.
Well, it's like, especially when you're grinding stuff and shards are flying all over.
It's terrible. I've had metal in my eye 3 times, and it was terrible every time, and I'm lucky I have no permanent damage.
Yeah.
Don't safety squint. If you wear glasses, at least you have those, but I have prescription safety glasses with the side shields. Don't screw around with your eyes.
Yeah.
I got to go get a haircut. I'll be back.
All right, yeah, he'll be back.
Well, we're back.
Whee!
It's the next day.
Looks a nice haircut.
I got some hair removed in a precise fashion. But we're back. Oh, my God.
That was just for fun.
Other great uses for steel TIG rod. Bun Jesus. It's Jesus jumping off the cross.
I almost included this just because of some members of the audience.
Yeah, well...
that would find
I don't know if it's going to be shocking to anyone, but I couldn't be less religious.
Yeah.
And, this is pretty funny.
Yeah. I'm sorry, we're not your good Christian channel over here.
No, and I don't intend on being.
Yeah.
This picture is Jesus jumping from the cross and then a bungee cord around his hog-tied ankle.
Dude, you know what that means? He still can't escape the cross. Like, he's just going to be pulled right back up onto the cross.
And then go, bing. like those Velcro suits you wear. You jump and hit the Velcro thing.
Yeah, you jump into the wall.
He just tries to jump and he's like, nope.
Yep. Oh,
good try, Jesus.
Good try, Jesus.
All right, so this is a screenshot of a text thread with somebody named Sydney. And the caption says, I need help with online dating. And so Sydney says, can you weld things for me? This person says, what stuff do you need welded? She said, stuff. Think of something cool to impress me. Guy goes, I mean, I got a bunch of pics of me doing cool welding stuff that might impress you. She goes, no, items. He goes, items? Like stuff I weld? She said, yes. Like, could you make a horseshoe for me? It's that whole thing. Like, I don't expect people that don't weld to know what welding is.
Right.
But it's that funny assumption where it's like, hey, you work with metal. This thing I have that's broken is metal. Mm-hmm. Surely you know how to fix it.
Yeah. Oh, the outside of my fridge is metal, and my fridge doesn't work. Can you fix my fridge?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I could, maybe, but the fact that you're asking me this tells me a lot about you.
Yeah. That you.
Guy goes, that's blacksmithing. And then she goes, what do you do? Lame blacksmithing? He goes, I mean, I could cut out a shape of a horseshoe in metal, but you got to forge actual horseshoes. She goes, can you make anything? He goes, yeah, I build ships, rail cars, homeless shelters. I make things. You can make a ship, but not a horseshoe? With the right tools, I could, but I don't have a forge or forging tools in my condo, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's it.
The one I get a lot is when someone asks me what I do, and I say I'm a welder. And then the person I'm talking to will usually say something like, oh, my uncle's a welder. And then like insert some unbearable conversation about how because their uncle's a welder, they like know what welding is or what metalworking is. Oh, yeah. And I'm not trying to like sound like a uber hipster or whatever, put it on a pedestal what I do, but this is advice for anyone. Like, it's probably better to, if you're asking someone about themselves, it's probably better to just listen.
Yep.
than to pretend like you know what they're about to say or to pretend like you know what their job is or the answer to what they're about to,
Yeah.
And
right.
I would respond just like this guy. In
Yeah.
fact, he's being more patient than I would be by far.
This guy's being a saint.
Yeah, I'd be like, no, I don't know how to make a horseshoe by forging it, and I would definitely not make it for someone who's like
Lame.
calling me a lame blacksmith.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you make anything? Yeah. That's just kidding. That's
I just told you all the things I make.
Yeah.
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 Don't do that. Don't
Yeah.
be like Sydney.
She's not worth it. Sydney is not worth it.
Yeah. From the thumbnail, it looks like she could be cute, but trust me, dude, it's not worth it. Because your whole relationship's going to be like
Oh my
this.
God, yeah. If she doesn't respect from you what you do from the outset, it's only going to get worse. This one, I've never seen anything like this.
right.
Nor have I heard of thermite welding.
Ooh, is it a railway video? I've seen this. All right, so we got
If you can explain the mechanics of this.
we got welding some tracks for a new metro/subway in Montreal. Any other thermite welders here? Yeah, so they've got this like crucible thing. So thermite, correct me if I'm wrong, is I think aluminum powder. No, it's its own thing. But thermite, once ignited, burns extremely hot. And it's a pretty insane chemical reaction. It burns hot, and then this canister. Look how hot that thing is. That's like a ceramic crucible with a hole in the bottom, and the thermite. I don't know if there's like iron in there with the thermite, or if the thermite itself is what creates the filler metal for the weld. But essentially, they have this crucible sat over a joint in the rail, like where two pieces of rail are about to be joined together, and the thermite essentially melts not only the ends of the rail, but whatever filler metal, whether that is the thermite itself or some filler metal in there, and they have a mold around the rails.
Joint in the rail. Yeah.
So it just, I don't know how much gap they have in there, probably some. And then it just fills the gap with molten metal and everything fuses together.
That's wild.
But you don't need welders, you don't need gas, you don't need anything. Like technically this is called an exothermic reaction or a chemical reaction that gives off heat. And it's so much heat that thermite will burn through anything. It's not like tannerite for you country boys out there. Tannerite's what you shoot and it explodes.
Right.
Thermite is an almost unstoppable, very hot chemical reaction.
Interesting.
And yeah, they're harnessing that power here to weld rails together. I've seen a bunch of these. This is pretty cool. This is the most professional one I've seen. The guy's wearing all the right PPE.
Yeah.
There's a fume extractor over there. You can see it sucking all the gas and stuff out.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh boy, now we're into it. Now we're into one of the strangest trends in weld talk.
I'm deeply sorry, everyone.
Don't be.
My voice is hanging in
How
there.
much you think you're worth an hour to come work for me? Say 25. Pretty good looking bead in there, yeah. I'll do 25. Cool. How much you think you're worth an hour to come work for me?
Based off this, I'd say about $12.50.
$12.50. How about 18?
18?
Yeah.
I'll take it.
What are you worth an hour to come work for me?
About 20 bucks.
20 bucks?
Yeah, I'll take it 20 bucks.
I'll do 21.50.
21.50?
What are you worth an hour to come work for me?
Probably about 20.
20? I think we could do 20.
I understand what he's doing, right? What it seems like is happening is the instructor is making the student think about how to value their time and effort.
Sure, which is a valuable lesson.
But also, and the instructor is at the same time evaluating the quality of their welds by countering what they think with, yeah, I could do that, or no, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right, this guy.
Let me.
So you've done some research on the Western Welding Academy.
I have indeed.
And they post not only a ton of content, but a weird content. I've seen over your shoulder a few of the clips that you found. And
a lot of it's bizarre.
Yeah.
Like there's one of the instructors There's a video of him saying that if you wear a certain kind of necktie, he's going to knee you in the head.
So there are some weird egos and personalities in welding.
Yes.
Like there is, it can easily be a like pissing contest, like a ego fest, macho man, step on the newbies, make fun, give them a hard time. You got to earn your right and all that. And like some of that's fun, but like that was actually why I left the fire service, was because it was just shitting on the new guy all the time. And it was like this ego trip. All the guys were like doing it for the wrong reasons. And, all these students seem good mannered. So like this could very well be a bit. It could be like, he's being like sort of brash on purpose,
Sure.
Or whatever. So I'm not going to pretend like I know the ethos behind this video.
Yeah. Well,
but, yeah.
I have some questions about the dollar amounts. Does that seem accurate to like a newbie? Because this school testifies that they specialize in pipeline welding.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a student fresh out of welding school, making $20-25 an hour, I think is pretty reasonable, actually.
Well, here's another tidbit of information. They do not accept federal financial aid, and it costs about $20,000 to go there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, exactly. These welding academies are really expensive, but you leave there, and that's still quite a bit less debt than college.
True.
And you leave super employable.
It's true.
So,
the one thing though that I did find online is that everybody just said go to community college.
Yes, dude. All right, I'm not name dropping on purpose, but I literally had dinner with the president of the American Welding Society last night because of this art show, metal art show that I'm a part of for the Taubman. And this is exactly what we were talking about. His name's Dennis X, super nice guy. We were talking about this like weird culture and then the gap between new welders and like the old guys that are, a lot of the old guys are like, they think real poorly of younger generations and they barricade all their knowledge, they don't want to share. I have a career in this because of older guys who were good and were willing to answer my questions.
Right.
So like that's something the AWS is really trying hard to
Counter.
fix is this like generational divide between like, because if welding seems like an intense thing to learn, and like when the first interaction a kid might have is with some bitter old guy who's like, you're never gonna make it, kid. Well, there goes his or hers aspirations about becoming a welder.
Yeah.
So the AWS is aware of this like cultural divide, and not that this guy makes welding seem inaccessible. I just wish there was less emphasis placed on the whole like hazing and whatever thing, and more just placed on the mechanics of learning how to weld and then going to get a reasonable paying job almost immediately.
Yeah.
Like if we talked about like upfront investment versus like a high ceiling career, like you might get out of welding academy and make $20-25 an hour, but the ceiling is so high. Like if you work for 5 years, get your journeyman or whatever, you're making, and you get a mobile rig put together, you're working on pipelines, oil rigs and stuff, you're going to make $80-100 an hour within a pretty short amount of time. It's not glorious work. You're going to be dirty and tired and you're going to hurt yourself. But, with the right amount of education, you can minimize most of those things. And I don't know. I just love, I think our generation is bringing about a renewed sense of appreciation for the trades.
Yeah, I think so too.
And one thing that the pandemic showed us is the world is very fragile. And when everything falls apart, who are the people that have to go fix it? Plumbers, electricians, welders, truck drivers, all these people, the blue collar people.
They didn't get a day off.
No. And it's because they're good at their job that allows us to take life for granted. So the world is always going to need more welders, and I'm glad at least if these videos that Western Welding Academy puts out is responsible for even
That's what I was gonna say.
some people signing up to become welders. It's a good thing.
Yeah, and there's a couple main guys on Western Welding Academy that did the welder's necktie. It's just one of the most bizarre.
Yeah, this guy's got weird vibes, man.
I don't like it.
Another question I got was about the welder's necktie, and I saw a couple of times people had forgotten what size compression fitting, the little brass fitting, and that fitting is a 5/8. If you use a half, it's going to be too small to get all of the handkerchief in, and if you go larger than that, 3/4, it's going to want to fall off. Now, because of my background and training, I do not like to tie anything around my neck. I can reach up if you tie something on your neck. I can reach my 2 fingers in, twist it, and knee you and knock you out. And I don't want to be that guy. Neither do you.
Like, what? What does that even mean?
Like, how was that? I don't understand.
What does that even mean?
Right. He spoke about it in a way that, like, obviously I should know what that is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm picturing some sort of brass pipe fitting that's like those
Like a
ring,
bolo,
like a napkin ring or like a bolo tie.
yeah. To hold a handkerchief in?
I don't, and how it has to be the right one.
Has to be a 5/8.
Otherwise, he's gonna knee you in the head.
And he doesn't want to be that guy.
No,
but
he
if
doesn't.
he sees it, he will be.
His hands are tied.
Yeah, exactly.
If he sees it, he has to knee you in the face.
Yeah, I mean, that's a 3/4 fitting, buddy. I got to take you out.
It doesn't make me want to sign up for the Western Welding Academy.
No, yeah. Some of the other videos featuring this guy are like multi-parters, and it's like him telling stories about on the job and being like, this one time I got all the workers to revolt against the evil client, and we all left there eating watermelon. You know, like that's literally one of the stories. You should see their latest video. I wasn't able to include it because they just uploaded it last night. It's literally him stepping out of like a limo with longhorns on the front. And he steps and his chauffeur is a little person who runs around and lets him out, and then he's like, yeah, Western Welding Academy, and then little person punches him in the and that's it. It's like total tone shift.
So the more I hear about these guys, the more I'm like, I think at least half of this is trolling, like for reactions.
Yeah, could be.
I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt by saying half, but all right. So
here's
apply now.
Yep.
Yes.
Do I have what it takes? The #1 welding school in the world.
Yes. TikTok.
Yep. I don't know what those are. I think it's cool.
Don't. What interests you about the welding industry? Welding stuff. What are your long-term career goals? I want to weld stuff. How do you believe Western Welding can help you achieve? They can teach me to weld stuff. How do you handle criticism and feedback?
I ignore criticism.
How do you handle pressure? Describe your work ethic and commitment to excellence. I work ethically and commit to excellence. Who supports you in this decision? Literally nobody. Out of pocket. What do you hope to gain from your education? Welding knowledge. We now have housing. You've made it through the hard part. Are you a citizen? Yes.
Have you ever been convicted of a crime?
It's complicated.
It's complicated.
I stole a Kit Kat from my friend Jerry when we were in elementary school, and he tattled on me. What a snake. Wilbur, Hodge, and Podge. 1961. Jesus Christ. You're 60 years old.
Yep. Oh, this is what I looked up fake phone numbers.
Fake phone number generator.
Yeah.
Nice. What's your zip code? Emergency contact. Wilma, Hodge, and Podge. Hodge and Podge.
My wife.
I love that you did this.
Alabama. And then boom, paywall.
Yeah.
If you
$25
this application fee will show your commitment to Western Welding Academy and the welding industry.
Oh my God. Really, all they're trying to say is like pay $25 and we'll consider your application.
Right. Well, and I think they deliberately make it that long to where you do all that work and you get to the end of it, you're like,
I did all the work.
I
wrote all the guy. I genuinely tried on my essays.
I might as well pay the $25 and show my commitment.
Yeah. What are you, a loser?
Yeah.
You don't have $5? What are you, broke?
Yeah. I literally, it had a multiple choice answer and it says, how do you handle criticism and feedback? And I said, I ignore it.
That was one of the multiple choice questions.
That was one of the multiple choice questions.
I ignore it.
I feel like after you select that multiple choice question, it should be like,
you're not cut out for
this.
this
Isn't for you.
You need criticism.
Yeah.
Thank you, Walker.
Hey, thank you.
for braving the depths of the internet.
You know, I
To
came
bring-
out. I can't say I came out unscathed, but
Thank you for watching Lift
Yeah.
Arc Studios. We hope that we're nice to you guys, and we
Yeah.
appreciate your viewership.
And
you
if-
can do anything you set your
Yeah.
mind to.
And if you're from the Western Welding Academy, we mean you no harm.
Nah, man,
You
this
just
is
make some weird videos.
this is all for fun.
you just make some really weird ones.
You're
okay?
giving us content to react
Yeah.
to. So how about that?
It's all right. We make weird videos too.
That's all we do, actually. Like, subscribe, do the things. I appreciate you. We'll see you next week.
All right.
Bye. I love you.
Bye. I love you. Ooh.
Stole that from James on Donut.